Welcome. May these words bring you peace. Today I want to talk to you about a theme that deeply touches every human heart: forgiveness. This short word carries within it one of the most transformative powers in life. At first glance, it seems simple, but anyone who has ever had to truly forgive knows that forgiveness is one of the greatest expressions of love and courage that exist. All of us at some point in life have been hurt, sometimes by painful words, by unjust actions, by absences that left an emptiness. Sometimes the pain comes from those we least expect. And what's most curious is that when something wounds us deeply, it's not only the memory that remains, it's an energy that stays alive inside us, as if time itself couldn't erase it. At first we think resentment is a form of defense, that by holding on to the pain, we're somehow protecting ourselves. But as the days go by, we realize that what we keep inside begins to weigh us down. Forgiveness is the act of releasing that weight. It's the choice to stop carrying what no longer serves us. Many people think forgiving is a sign of weakness, that the one who forgives submits. But in truth, forgiving is an act of immense inner strength. It is looking at your own pain and deciding, I don't want this to define me anymore. Because forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it completely transforms how you walk through the present. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. But the poison acts inside you. It corrodes your peace, your health, your sleep. Forgiveness is the antidote. It doesn't erase what happened, but it heals the place where the wound was made. And there's no such thing as instant forgiveness. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful, but always liberating. Forgiveness begins the moment you decide not to let the pain occupy any more space within you. To forgive isn't to pretend nothing happened. It's to look at what happened with courage and choose not to be imprisoned by it. It's to acknowledge the pain, but not to identify with it. It's understanding that what hurt you doesn't have to follow you forever. Imagine a wound on your body. If you keep touching it, it won't heal. But if you clean it, care for it, and protect it, your body takes care of restoring it. The soul works the same way. Forgiveness is the bandage that allows healing. When you forgive, what was once pain becomes wisdom. What was resentment becomes learning. What was heavy becomes light. And this process isn't theoretical, it's real, felt, lived. Think of a memory that still hurts. Notice that, deep down, it's still tied to an expectation, something you wish had been different. Forgiveness begins when you accept what was. Acceptance isn't agreement. It's understanding that life has paths we don't always understand, but somehow they teach us something. Some people spend years trapped in resentment. Life moves on, but inside them, time has stopped. They keep reliving the same episode, the same words, the same emotions, and the body feels it. The chest tightens, the stomach reacts, the heart races. Resentment takes root. But when forgiveness happens, those roots loosen. The air begins to flow again. Life begins to move again. And you know what's most beautiful? Forgiveness doesn't need an audience. You can forgive in silence, within yourself, without the other person ever knowing. Because forgiveness is a liberation that happens inside, not outside. It's a conversation between you and your own soul. When you forgive, you reunite with yourself. Anger gives way to peace, and your heart slowly opens again to love. You begin to see that you're no longer the same person, and that's wonderful. But there's an important detail. Before forgiving, you must feel. Embrace the pain. Don't hide it. Many people confuse forgiveness with denial. They deny the suffering and say, it's over. But it isn't. True forgiveness only comes when you face the pain head-on and say, I know what I felt, and even so, I choose to move on. And sometimes this process takes time. You might think you've forgiven, but when you remember the situation, your heart still tightens. That's normal. It just means the wound is still healing. Forgiveness is a movement, not a moment. And the most beautiful part is realizing that, deep down, forgiveness is a form of self-love. It's you saying to yourself, I deserve to live in peace. It's not about the other, it's about you. The truth is, Forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself, because when you release what was holding you back, something inside you expands, the soul breathes, and the world seems different, lighter, brighter. Maybe today you still feel you can't forgive, and that's okay. Forgiveness begins with desire. It's enough to say, even timidly, "I want to forgive." That intention is already the first step, because the heart listens, and little by little, it begins to open. There's no rush. Forgiveness blooms at the right time, like a seed that finds the perfect season to sprout. The important thing is not to stop cultivating it, and while you do, allow yourself small liberations. Let go of pride, the desire for revenge, the need to be right. Those things keep us chained to the past, and forgiveness is the bridge to the future. Think of how many times life has given you new chances, even after mistakes, falls, regrets. Life forgives. Time itself is the greatest example of that. It always offers new beginnings. Human forgiveness is a reflection of that. It's a miniature rebirth, a chance we give ourselves to breathe again. And it's amazing how, when we forgive, the world changes, without anything external actually changing. The landscape is the same, the people are the same, but something within us transforms, and that changes everything. Forgiving is like cleaning a dirty window. The view was always there, but now you can finally see it clearly. Resentment blinds us. Forgiveness restores our sight. So when you feel ready, don't be afraid to let go. It's not about forgetting, it's about freeing. Leaving the past where it belongs, behind you, because life happens in the now, and forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to the present. When we truly begin to understand forgiveness, we realize it's not a fleeting emotion, but a daily choice. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The light doesn't change the furniture, but it changes the way you see everything. That's exactly what forgiveness does. It doesn't erase what happened, but it completely transforms the way you look at your life story. And little by little, you start to understand that forgiveness unfolds in layers. First comes relief. That feeling of releasing something that has been trapped inside for a long time. Then comes silence. A new space within you, once occupied by resentment, now ready to be filled with peace. And finally comes wisdom. When you look back on the past with serenity and realize that somehow it all contributed to your growth. Forgiveness is not about winning or losing. It's about being free. And when you free yourself, your heart becomes a more livable place. Many people think forgiveness happens all at once. But in reality, it's something you build. Sometimes you have to forgive the same person several times until one day the memory stops hurting. That's not weakness, it's maturity. Each time you choose to release a bit of pain, forgiveness grows a little more. And that's how healing happens, gradually, like the sunrise dissolving the night. There is something profoundly human about forgiving. Forgiveness demands humility. Humility to recognize that others are just as imperfect as we are. And at the same time, it demands courage. Courage to open your heart again even after it's been hurt. Often the hardest forgiveness is the one we owe ourselves. How many times have you blamed yourself for something you did or didn't do? How many nights have you replayed the same scenes, the words you could have said, the choices you could have made? Guilt is an invisible prison, and forgiveness is the key. If you feel you carry old guilt, start telling yourself now, "I did the best I could with what I knew at that moment." That simple sentence opens doors. It allows compassion to enter where judgment once lived. And compassion is what transforms forgiveness into love. Because deep down, to forgive is to love. In a broader, wiser way. It's understanding that we are all trying, stumbling, learning. Many people think forgiveness depends on an apology, on someone asking for or giving one. But forgiveness doesn't need witnesses. It happens quietly, in the heart. You can forgive someone who is no longer in your life, even someone who has already passed away, because forgiveness doesn't need to depend on the other person's presence. It depends only on your decision to live in peace. And when forgiveness finally arrives, it's as if time gains a new color. Memories lose their weight. The past remains part of your story, but it stops being the main character, and from that moment the present begins to bloom. To forgive is to open space inside yourself. When you clear out resentment, you make room for good things to enter. Love, joy, serenity. And it's remarkable how life seems to reorganize itself when the heart is clean. What once seemed difficult begins to flow. Relationships become lighter. Even your body seems to breathe better. It's as if forgiveness restores harmony between what you feel and what you live. But it's important to remember, forgiving doesn't mean letting someone hurt you again. Forgiving is not submitting, nor accepting the unacceptable. Forgiving is saying, I understand what happened, but I will not carry it with me. And if necessary, it's also saying, I forgive you, but I will go my own way. Some people confuse forgiveness with reconciliation. But reconciliation is a choice, while forgiveness is liberation. You can forgive and still keep your distance. You can forgive and never reconnect. What matters is that inside you, there's no longer a war. Forgiveness is the closing of a cycle. It's the final period that allows you to begin a new chapter. And each new chapter is an opportunity to live with more awareness and love. Some say forgiving is forgetting. But true forgiveness isn't amnesia. It's healed memory. You remember, but it no longer hurts. You can talk about it, but now there's calm in your voice. What once imprisoned you now teaches you. And that is the most beautiful sign that forgiveness is complete. When the wound becomes a scar and the scar becomes wisdom. Throughout life, we will be called to forgive many times. To forgive others, to forgive circumstances, to forgive ourselves. And each time it happens, it's an opportunity for spiritual growth. Life is a great school, and forgiveness is one of its hardest and most liberating lessons. Here's a simple exercise to help you begin. Close your eyes and imagine the person or situation that still causes you pain. Notice how your body reacts. Maybe your chest tightens, your stomach churns, your breathing changes. Now imagine your breath releasing a soft light that surrounds that memory. That light doesn't judge, accuse, or deny. It simply surrounds, understands, and dissolves. Take a deep breath and with each exhale silently repeat, I choose to let go. I choose peace. If you do this every day, even for a few minutes, you'll begin to notice a transformation. The pain starts to lose strength. The resentment starts to fade. And forgiveness begins to bloom naturally, like a plant that grows quietly, effortlessly. To forgive is like opening a window in a long closed room. Fresh air enters, sunlight touches the furniture. The space feels new again, and deep down that's what we all seek. A heart that's open, free, and ready for the new. Resentment is like dust. If you don't clean it, it covers everything until the colors disappear. But when you open the window of forgiveness, life shines again. And the most beautiful part is that when you forgive, you inspire others to do the same. Because forgiveness is contagious. Lightness spreads. People feel something different in your energy, in your eyes, in your presence. And that peaceful energy begins to touch those around you, creating a virtuous circle of healing. You might wonder, what if the person who hurt me never repented? The answer is simple. Forgiveness doesn't depend on the other's repentance. Forgiveness is an act of love, not of exchange. You forgive not because the other deserves it, but because you deserve to be free. And when you understand that, the power returns to your hands. You stop being a prisoner of others' actions and become the owner of your own peace. Forgiveness is also a form of faith. It's believing that, even without understanding everything now, there's a greater purpose in every experience, that nothing is in vain, not even pain, that every wound can become a source of light if healed with love. And in the end, forgiveness is all about love, the purest, most transformative love there is, the love that accepts, understands, and frees. When you forgive, you reconnect with universal love, the kind that expects nothing in return. And it's there that the soul finds rest. Now allow yourself a moment of stillness. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out like a gentle tide. Imagine that with every exhale, you're releasing what no longer serves you. Let it go. Don't force it. Just allow it. Feel how light it is to be at peace. Feel the quiet sweetness of inner silence. And in that silence, repeat softly to yourself, I am free. I choose love. I choose to live in peace. Stay in that feeling for a few seconds. Let your body relax, your mind slow down. Let your heart open to the new. Because forgiveness is just that, a new beginning. It's the end of a story of pain and the beginning of a story of light. It's dawn after a long night. And when the sun rises again within your soul, everything begins to bloom. Carry that feeling with you. Maybe your path to forgiveness isn't complete yet, and that's okay. But every step you take in that direction is already a silent victory. And little by little, what once was pain turns into gratitude. Forgiveness is an act of love, and love is the greatest force there is. So, from today on, may you look at yourself with tenderness. Look at the past with understanding, and look at the future with faith. To forgive is to set free, and to set free is to love. May peace dwell within you, and may forgiveness, once awakened, never fall asleep again.